Children capture our hearts and souls. Nothing else in this world can make a human being feel, act, and love the way they do. The gentle touch of a child, the slightest whimper from a baby, and a subtle smile from a teenager are moments that can be captured within. Knowing this unconditional love and sanctity our offspring brings hardwires us to do everything we can in order to protect, provide, and nurture our future. But what if your child had a significant cognitive disability? Would that change or alter your love and devotion to them? Would you want to give this child the same educational opportunities as everyone else? Hello, my name is Stacy Kramer, and I currently work at the Wyoming Department of Education. I am an education consultant for our Division of Special Education Programs. Here at the Wyoming Department of Education, we strongly believe in improving instructional outcomes for students with disabilities. With this mission and vision always in mind, we strive to systematically make decisions that will provide the best educational outcomes to every Wyoming student. My communication intervention plan will focus on federal laws that correlate to the 1%, which I will discuss further in this presentation. So sit back, relax, and take a journey through what our department did in order to meet our goals. Under No Child Left Behind, Act 34 CFR 200.1d, and Every Student Succeeds Act, Public Law Number 114-95, provides alternate achievement standards and assessments that are just for students with significant cognitive disabilities. The reason behind these are to ensure that only students with the most significant cognitive disabilities have access to the general curriculum, be involved in the general curriculum, and progress in the general curriculum, thus providing an opportunity for these students to demonstrate what they know and can do as it relates to academic grade level content. These laws also ensure that the total number of students assessed in such subjects using the alternate assessments do not exceed 1% of the total number of all students in the state. According to our 2018 assessment data, Wyoming is over both of these federal mandates. If we look at the data in front of us, in 2016, we were over the 1% cap at 1.25%. In 2017, we hit right at 1%, but in 2018, we went over the 1% cap yet again at 1.04%. If states are over the 1% cap, then the National Office of Special Education Programs, which is OSEP, questions states' fidelity and best practices, which could lead to an audit by the U.S. Department of Education and OSEP, which ultimately may cause a loss in federal funding. This is not good news because it impedes our mission and vision for improving instructional outcomes for students with disabilities. Wyoming Department of Education realized we had a problem. Therefore, we created an objective using the SMART guidelines. And here it is. In order to decrease the 1% cap within 1 year by 0.25%, the Wyoming Department of Education will solidify and distribute parent resources along with a participation guidance document that will assist IEP teams in ensuring students with significant cognitive disabilities are being administered the correct state summative assessment. In order to meet our goal, we had to come up with a plan. Therefore, WDE teams collaborated in order to make this initiative work. The Division of Standards and Assessment and the Division of Special Education Programs teamed up. Our budget for Division of Standards and Assessment was $30,000, and our division's budget was $30,000, thus equaling $60,000 in order to provide the resources we needed in order to meet our goal. Our two divisions worked collaboratively in order to create two non-random propulsive surveys. One was for our target audience, which are professional team members that are a part of an IEP team which are special education directors, administrators, service providers, general, special education teachers, etc., while the other was for parents. The survey composed of 8 close-ended questions varying between a Likert scale and multiple choice, followed by 4 open-ended questions designed to provide insight to what current trends IEP teams are using. In order to sway stakeholders to take the survey seriously, we ensured them that their input will be valued, considered, and recognized. Our stakeholders' desire to see Wyoming students succeed produced over 120 provider feedback responses and 29 parent responses, thus equaling to over 149 responses. What was even better was their results were consistent within our assumptions. This figure right here definitely appeals to what we thought. The figure on the left are parents, and the figure on the right are providers. The figure on the left determined that 69% of parents are not at all familiar with the 1% cap regs. The figure on the right demonstrates that 40% of providers are very well familiar with the 1% cap regs. Both figures demonstrate an inconsistency in knowledge on the 1% cap altogether. The qualitative data results produce the following: lack of awareness on the 1% cap regs, lack of awareness on current resources already out in the field, and stakeholders' need for stronger documentation, resources, and support. This consensus assisted WDE in determining that a focus group was needed in order to compose a solid participation criteria and additional resources for parents. Our departments got to work in order to recruit various stakeholders. And within 2 weeks, we found 25 from across the state that were willing and ready to help us with our goal. Our goal was over the next 2 days, a committee will participate in discussion, evaluate information, and produce parent resources as well as a participation guidance document in order to ensure students with significant cognitive disabilities are being administered by the correct state summative assessment. In order to get our stakeholders there, we paid them a $300 stipend per workday along with PTSB credit, which can be used to assist in renewing teaching licenses. Using various models on how to design and conduct an effective focus group, we organized our groups in the following ways. Members were assigned to work in groups of 5 to 7. 2 WDE staff members sat in each group, one being the facilitator, the other being the note taker. Both members assisted in devising a plan, incorporating strategies, providing technical assistance, and composing their ideas onto the platform of choice. The task was to look at the current participation criteria guidelines and assign them out to each groups. What they were to do was identify the gaps in the assigned portion of the document and determine what was needed in order to close those gaps. The tools were to utilize their laptops, accessible materials, peers, etc. By the end of those 2 days, the focus group outcomes were the following. They produced a participation guidance document. They began drafting a glossary of terms for IEP teams and began drafting a parent brochure. Additionally, an exit ticket was provided, which was a survey. We wanted stakeholders' input on how the committee was ran. After composing all of the results, we were proud of what we found. 85.7% of the stakeholders found that the activities were appropriate and useful. 90.5% thought the pacing of activities during the trainings were appropriate. 90% thought sufficient examples were given to illustrate concepts. 100% found the training session allowed enough time for questions and clear answers. 100% found the presenters knew the material well and were prepared. 100% increased their knowledge of the YALT criteria. 95.2% learned concepts that will be utilized in the classrooms, school districts, and various settings. And 85% appreciated the opportunity to collaborate and network with stakeholders across the state. Our work is not over yet. WDE will need to compose one more stakeholder group of IEP team members in order to see if our participation criteria is useful. Have a licensed special education attorney look over the language in order to ensure it follows state and federal mandates, determine which publishing company will print parent brochures and glossaries, produce webinars, and schedule professional development opportunities across the state. We have to complete all of this rather soon so that IEP teams can have the documents at the beginning of the 2019-2020 school year. This work is essential in order to uphold our values and mission in improving instructional outcomes for students with disabilities. We have to remember that each and every child matters. They are our cherished gifts, and we must continue to protect, provide, and nurture our future. Thank you for listening.